Hi everyone, it's episode 5 of Studs Up, brought to you by oddschecker and Sky Bet. And once again, we are combining the worlds of horse racing and football on our road to the Cheltenham Festival. As always, my Studs Up strike partner is alongside me in the Studs Up dressing room, Charlie Austin. And another good week for QPR, Chaz. How's it gone your end?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, mate. 4 points out of 6. It was okay. Good win at the weekend, and we picked up a point away to Preston Wednesday night, which was hopefully will be an important one come the end of the season.
Do you know what? I was looking at the table now. Are you guys in the camp now thinking about trying to nick into the playoffs as opposed to looking over your shoulder?
That's what I mean. Get people like you and presenters and all stuff start shouting that about. There's no need for it. We just take one game at a time and see how far we can go. Do you know what I mean? Don't need people like you shouting, can you get to the playoffs? We'll attack that position when we get 6 or 7 games later on.
But in all seriousness, and maybe you were being serious there, but actually, I think you were. But a lot of footballers come out and say take one game at a time and all that. But yeah. Is it better to focus on one game at a time rather than setting your sights too high or looking too far into the future?
No, because everyone's now scared what people are going to say after it. No, look, you have to set yourself goals, and I mean ours is to win football matches like everybody. Of course, we want to get to the playoffs. That would be perfect. You know what I mean? But there's plenty of football left to play, and we got to win football matches, mate. We play a lot of teams around us at the moment, so look, the next few weeks are going to not define our season, but certainly put us in a position to push for the last little bit.
I tell you, that about the few weeks defining the season for a lot of the horses, and we had some great racing at the weekend. These are the last few moments that potentially might define their season with one eye on Cheltenham. We've got lots to talk about in the world of racing. We saw some terrific horses in action last weekend. We've got some really good racing coming up this weekend, including the Eider Chase from Newcastle, and that leads me very nicely into this week's special Studs Up star guest, because I'm delighted to say that Newcastle midfielder Jonjo Shelvey is joining us for episode 5. Jonjo, thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Pleasure to be on.
Firstly, we'll get on to your love of racing later, because I know you've owned a few horses in your time. Perhaps you don't want me to bring up how successful they were, but I know you've been involved in racing throughout your life. But just tell us, obviously, Newcastle, things aren't going great, it would seem, but what's the atmosphere like in the camp at the moment?
If people was there every day, that you'd like think that we was obviously top of the league, and like we're still laughing and joking, and there's still a good atmosphere around the training ground. And results have not been there, but we seem to win a couple and then lose 3 or 4 on the spin. And I think it's getting that level of consistency that we obviously need to climb up the table. But there's still a long way to go, and we're confident we can stay up.
Yeah, Jonjo, you know when you say you go in every day, like in training, everyone's happy and listen, you laugh and joke. You need to almost block out the outside noise, mate, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Because everyone, like you say, will have their opinion on Newcastle, but only you, the staff, and the rest of the players will know if you can get out of this mess. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, everywhere I've been at clubs in the past, there's always negativity from the outside in the press and in the media. At the end of the day, they're not the ones that are out on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? They're just commentating on what's going on the pitch. But everyone knows at that training ground and who's there at the club that we've got a good enough squad, and we keep things in house, and we just trying to fight through it, and everyone knows what's at stake. Do you know what I mean? So we know we've got what we've got to do and how we've got to go about it.
I'll tell you what, mate. One thing you said there, to keep everything in house, that is important, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Because you see a lot of things get leaked everywhere. Then as soon as that happens, that's when problems start, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's happened at other clubs I've been at where things get out to the press, and then it becomes a bit awkward over the training ground because you're guessing who's done it and who's not done it. But at the end of the day, we've got a good group of lads. There's a good core of us that have been there for a while, so we know what the club's about and what's expected of us.
And you see it, Jonjo, day in, day out. We don't get into that camp, but do you believe in this squad, and do you believe in the manager, and do you think you will stay up?
Yeah, I mean, the season's been very weird in anyway. I mean, teams have been beating all sorts. You know what I mean? Sheffield United go away to Man U and win. I mean, we was in the game up until 60 minutes the other day, and there's plenty enough in our squad, and we had a big blow. Obviously, Callum Wilson getting injured the other day. He's been our main for goals, but it's just is what it is. Someone's got to obviously come in, step up to the plate, and we've got to go and do it.
Well, let's talk about your career now, because it's been an amazing career, actually. You burst onto the scene at such a young age, and I know you don't do loads of media, so we're very grateful that you're joining us here on Studs Up to talk through your life in football. Were you always destined, given when you burst onto the scene, you made your debut at Charlton as a young teenager, etc. Were you always destined to be a footballer?
Yeah, I mean, as from the age of like 13, 14, I sort of tossed school off, if you like, and didn't really I didn't really go into school, and even the days I was meant to be at school, I didn't go. I was always training at Charlton, and luckily made my debut. Just turned 16, and then I actually went to school next day to try and give it a bit of big licks around the school. But no, you sort of know, and you get a feel if you're gonna make it or not. And I was just one of them fortunate players to be in that position such early on. But I feel like I've been around for years now. So
knowing you was at Charlton, like you get into that first bit, mate. You know, when you get through that first team, anyone look up? Did the lads look after you there when you went in there?
Yeah, I mean, I had a good group, to be fair. Obviously, you had Matty Holland and people like that, and Dion Burt, and there's I remember like my dad, he had like this little red Corsa. Like he would obviously take me in, and I got given the number 7 shirt, so you had to park in your bay. So he's parked in number 7, and like when you start warming up and you have to do the jog round and that.
Yeah.
And someone's tapped me on the shoulder as I was jogging round and said, "Is that your old man over there?" And he was nicking balls that had been fucking pinged everywhere, and he was putting them in the back of his.
You're joking.
His motor for his club. Yeah, for his club back home. And I had to pull him and said, "Dad, you can't do that, mate."
Oh, that's brilliant, mate. Hey, remember Jonjo? Remember when I played? Literally, this was just before you was getting obviously your move and that, because you was obviously only like 17 when you was at Charlton. Remember when we played the 2-2 against Swindon Boxing Day, and Soji got sent off down to 9 men. Yeah. You scored that day, unbelievable goal. I remember my dad saying to me, at 17, the guy just ran box to box for 90 minutes. And obviously, mate, you went on to use the best player on the pitch that day.
Then I discovered fast food and alcohol.
Like them all, mate. Like them all. But you know, when you start 17, and then you're getting that, like the club's, the interest, you know what I mean? What are you thinking? Yeah. You go from your old man to bring your training, your red Corsa, to then all of a sudden, fucking Liverpool were there.
I remember the day before I got told about Liverpool, we broke down at the Dartford Toll.
You and your
in one of his cars, and I weren't driving still. And he rang my uncle and obviously got him to come and put us on the Trotuck, but we couldn't get the Trotuck through the toll without putting it on the car on the thing. So I'm about to shut the Dartford Toll, and I'm pushing the fucking car across the Dartford Toll as you go through the barriers. And then he goes to me when we get in the tow truck, come on, we'll still take you into training on the tow truck. And I was like, nah, I'm not going in. I'll ring in sick. But then the next day they pulled me in, and Richard Murray was the chairman then, and he said, who's your favourite player? And I said, Gerrard. And he said that you're going to be playing with him next year. And I was just like, oh, so I'm sold, yeah.
When you went from Charlton to Liverpool, you walked into a dressing room full of stars. But how much was Steven Gerrard a factor in you actually going to Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken about this numerous times, but he was like the reason why I sort of went there, and you just wanted to learn from him, and like you're just in awe of him. Do you know what I mean? Like as a young kid, and I mean, you've played against him, Char, and he's just different gear, and even the way he conducts himself around the training ground and off the pitch, he was just spot on, just someone to learn from.
You know, when you see him on the pitch and everybody sees him off the pitch, it's good that you say that because everybody can see him as the captain and the captain of Liverpool Football Club when he's on the pitch. But at the training ground and stuff, was he very good for you then? Obviously, you'd gone there 17, 18, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he obviously liked the game of golf and he'd always invite you to go and play golf. And as a young lad, like I'd gone from living in a council estate, like I was still living in the council estate playing for Charlton. But you go and live in like a big house in Liverpool and you're up there on your own and you've got no one around and he's just constantly trying to help you out, tell you where to go and stuff like that. And it was your idol at the end of the day, do you know what I mean? And it's just being in the same room as him and stuff like that, just trying to pick up little things, but he'd always help you out on the pitch or off it.
Did you get starstruck?
I did a little bit, but then going back to what my dad like grilled into me is like, you've earned your right to be in the room with them, so go and prove why you are.
And I think, mate, you earn their respect going to show your stuff and doing that stuff. Because I think, Ollie, you get more people, don't you, go there and then they're like, oh, they're in awe of you, and then you don't show what you're actually there to do.
I think you've got to be fearless.
Yeah, 100%.
I think as a footballer, you've got to be fearless. You can't let anything phase you.
Did you live near him?
Yeah, I didn't at first, and then I lived next door to him. But I mean, I had a spell where I was single at the time for about 3-4 months, and he like my brother living with me and one of my pals, and obviously there'd be quite a few birds knocking around and things like that. But he'd come in the next day and say, you need to. All I can hear is high heels walking up the drive and that, and I'm just sitting there giggling, like, do you know what I mean? He said, "You're getting me in trouble with me missus. I keep staring out the window."
That's what he's probably wanted to see what you're up to, mate. He wanted to come round.
But no, it was good, and like even like living next door to him, you'd share lifts in and stuff like that, and it was just mad. Do you know what I mean? And it was just surreal, really.
Chaz, who was your idol growing up? Did you have a player like that you looked up to?
I just like Shearer, goal scorer, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean? So that was it. Yeah. Then when I was linked with Newcastle, I spoke to him a couple of times, and I just thought, this is going to be the one. I'm going to go there and try and follow in his footsteps. But that was about it. When you play against Jonjo's fortunate, like you say, his idol was Gerrard. He trained with him every day and learnt from him. When you go up against people that you watch for so many years on the telly, all you think about is just trying to impress. Just try and impress them. As much as you've got a job to do, try and impress them, earn their respect. As much as you respect them, if there's a ball there to be won, you've got to go for it. Jonjo, when you're training and stuff like that, was your mindset of thinking, right, I respect Gerrard and I respect the lads in there, but the only way they're going to respect me is if I go do exactly the same that got me to this position?
Yeah, I mean, even if like someone would try and tell me something or this could be anyone, I would always, if I felt that was the wrong thing to do, then I'd say, no, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And that was just the way I've been brought up. Like I'd just say, no, this is the way I'm going to do it, and stuff like that. I've always had something to say, if you like, and I'm not sort of a yes man, but if I realise that they're speaking sense and what I think is stupid, then I'd take their advice on board. But yeah, I, as a player, I always wanted to play with him and then play against him, because then I could actually judge myself on how good I really am. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fortunately, I've got to do that.
The question I've got to ask though is probably not that highbrow, but see when Gerrard was going, you've got to rein it in when the women are coming up and down your driveway. Would you blame your brother? Would everyone at Liverpool think your brother would?
100%.
Quite right. Nothing to do with me, Gov. Nothing to do with me.
100%.
Do you still keep in touch with Gerrard now?
Now and again, yeah. I mean, he's obviously got the job at Rangers and he's doing unbelievably well. And I actually follow Rangers quite a bit, to be fair. And I think he will eventually get the Liverpool job, which rightly so.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's Mr. Liverpool, isn't he?
Yeah, he just walks on water over there.
Is he like God? Is he like God when he's in Liverpool?
Yeah, he's literally Mr. Liverpool, and I mean he won obviously the Champions League from, didn't he, single-handedly? So yeah, for me he was one of the best players I've ever played with.
Well, fortunately for you, Jonjo, we've got Mr. Swindon alongside us, Charlie Austin. So were you
Bell
like
by
that?
name, Bell by name, Bell by nature. It'll show off.
Well, that's one of my better gags, to be honest.
Glenn Hoddle played for Swindon, mate, and was the manager.
When you were at Liverpool, back to the football though, there were. It wasn't just Gerrard that was in that dressing room. Suarez, Torres, was he there as well?
Yeah. Torres. I sort of got there that season where Torres had sort of made up his mind that he wanted to go, so he was sort of injured a lot of the time. But then Suarez came in, and he gets a lot of stick, doesn't he?
Yeah,
really in everywhere, but he's probably the best player I've seen.
All right,
what made him so good?
Yeah, I'll go one better and say, when he first come in to how he was, like, was the improvement there, or did he have it straight away?
The first day he megged Cara twice, and like everyone was just like laughing and creasing, and I think Cara tried to do him, and he's megged him again, but it was there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like he didn't. I think he scored on his debut, and then literally just went to another level. But he was just like, he just had this thing inside him where he was just like, he just wanted to win so bad. Do you know what I mean? Like it hurt him. Even in training, it would hurt him.
Or if he lost?
Yeah, it would hurt him. He just probably wouldn't talk or get in his car and go home and things like that. And he was just a different level.
That's that winning mentality, ain't it? No matter what game you play, that is.
Don't you all have mentality. That though? Isn't every player in the Premier League like that? Yeah,
I suppose they are, but I just think he had that extra ability to go with it. Do you know what I mean? And he'd probably take it to heart if they didn't win, where he'd probably see it as his fault. Do you know what I mean? Where half the time it probably wasn't his fault.
Was it tough to leave Liverpool and go to Swansea, or was it quite an easy decision in the end?
I didn't actually give it much thought. I just literally, I remember coming back in first day of pre-season, and there'd been interest during the summer side the Euros 21s at England, and I'd come in and there had been interest. I think Palace tried to take me on loan, but I needed to go somewhere and sort of not have to worry about, if you have one bad game or you're still going to play. Do you know what I mean? And I wanted to play every week, and I'd had that at Charlton. So then when you go to Liverpool and you play a game and then someone comes back from injury and those straight back in, I sort of wanted to come, so I didn't really give it much thought. But then Swansea come up and it sort of suited me the way I wanted to play football, and I was lucky to go there and have such a good manager in Michael Laudrup, to be fair, and he was a big reason why I went there as well.
Yeah, mate. Like, did he sell it? It was there for everyone to see, wasn't it, for Swansea? Do you know what I mean? How well they played, and for you and how you play, it was going to suit yourself. So going there, the manager just put trust in you. Think, right, like you say, if you have one bad game, don't worry about it. You're going to play the next, and you're going to play the next game. So you've got to be a big part, because you was a big part of that Swansea team.
Yeah.
Weren't you?
Yeah, I actually asked when we actually went down for to meet the manager and the chairman, like what the crack is. Do you know what I mean? And he said that you're going to play near enough every week, and luckily that's how it turned out. But he was just, Laudrup's probably one of the best managers that I've come across in terms of the way he wants to play football, like, and the way that suits me, because I obviously hate getting the ball and passing the ball backwards or sideways. I hate it. So he used to step in if someone would do that in training and say, you pass the ball forward, always find the second line and stuff like that. he hated it as well, and he used to join in training and just take the piss out of people, and because he was obviously such a good footballer.
Yeah. Was he better than some of the players there in training?
Oh, 100%. He used to literally take it around 3 players and dink the keeper and things like that. And the guy could barely even move at that age, you know what I mean? But he was just different gear.
So obviously you're a confident lad, Jonjo, do you know what I mean? Obviously that's everywhere. Everyone can see that already. But going in there, did he have to give... Obviously he's not going to give you confidence, but did he make your character grow by saying, right... Because we all seen you hit 60-yard diags, mate. When any team that does any analysis on you can see that. Is he just saying, right, every time you get the ball, pass it forward and go hit your zingers, like?
Yeah, he just literally said to me, just come in and play the way you play. Like, there's a reason why I've gone and got you. There's obviously, I'd say I was quite cheap at the time, and I was going into a team that wants to keep the ball, and it definitely helped me. And the way he spoke to me and the way he made me feel was just different gravy. But going from Liverpool to Swansea was just such a big, like, culture shock in terms of how things have run. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember going there and I bought my own plane ticket to go to meet up with a team on pre-season.
Where to?
Where at Liverpool to Holland. And
wow.
I swear, and like, they was flying that day and I was signing that day, and then I had to get the flight out of Cardiff the next day to go and meet them. And then I get to the hotel, and like normally it's nerve-wracking, isn't it, going into a new team and people, like, especially people you don't know. And I get to the lunch table and all the lads are sitting down eating lunch, and he goes to Ashley Williams went to me, coming out tonight. I'm obviously in Amsterdam, and I'm like, it's my first day at the
testing the water, isn't it?
So, like, they've obviously all gone out, and then but there's a game the next day, a pre-season friendly.
Yeah.
So, but it was one of them hotels where the lift, like, you can get dropped off in the car park down the bottom in the lift.
Yeah.
So, I got on the bus and found this out, and it was Gary Monk and Ashley Williams, and they're in the thing. Ash has got all leopard print, like, face paint on and that, where he's been out and things like that, and he's going up in the lift, and Laudrup's going down for brekkie, like the day of the game.
Yeah.
And Laudrup just goes to him, "Good night." Was where you just don't. Where I'd gone from being at Liverpool, and that just doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean?
So did you have to? You know, when you was there, did you have to because it's easy, and do you know what I mean? You go from Liverpool, you being up there, your standards demand is there. Did you have to try and keep that? Yeah. I think you just fall in a trap, and I think I put on more, like, weight, whereas they wasn't big on body fats and things like that, and that it ends up catching up with you in terms of your fitness levels and things like that. I mean, even when I went to meet the lads at the hotel, they give me the room key, and you had to share rooms. So I had to obviously experience that. And
is that not? Don't you do that everywhere?
No. Most clubs you get your own room, right. And I've gone up room, and there's the second goalkeeper, he's German fella called Gerhard Tremmel. I swear to God, he's smoking on the balcony. Smoking on the balcony, and I'm not into, like, smoking and things like that, but he's smoking on the balcony, and then he's come back in the room and he's gone, "Jonjo, what is the capacity at Anfield?" And I'm like, how the fuck am I meant to know that, pal?
First day. Never met him.
I swear to God.
I've got this, like, Bond villain image in my mind.
I swear to God. And then we played golf out there, and I was in his buggy.
Tremmel.
I swear he's chewed my ear off for about 4 or 5 hours, mate. And he takes so long to hit the fucking golf ball as well. But he was actually, like, a good lad. Do you know what I mean? As you get to know him, you knew that, like, he's a character, and that's just the way he was. But he was
Did he smoke the rest of the trip?
Experience. A chimney, mate. Ran the golf course, everything.
Oh, mate. Did you have to sing?
Yeah, I sang Elvis, Suspicious Minds.
How horrible is that? I don't, honestly, it gets talked about so much. It's awful, ain't it?
Oh, it's minging, honestly.
But now with smartphones, we all see it.
I've been at Newcastle for 5 years.
So you just stay strong?
Yeah, that's the thing, yeah. Now you're now with Twitter and social media and things like that, it gets plastered all over the internet.
Yeah, it's crap.
So you just look like a bellend anyway.
You don't yet, mate. You're up there. But I remember my first time singing, mate. I was sweating and all sorts. I think I practiced 4 or 5 times in the mirror.
What was your song, Chad? What was your song?
I sung Wonderwall at Swindon, right? Crap. And then I sung Stand By Me. That's it. It stuck with me. Wherever I've gone, I've just sung that. Quick start to the verse, straight in the chorus, up and down. Perfect.
You just want a really short
song. Horrible, isn't it?
I'd die. Are you a good singer?
Me? No.
No, all right. I saw that lad from Hull. He's like the goalie or something. He had like an unbelievable voice or something. I think the voice asked him.
Yeah, you don't want to hear them. You don't want to hear the good ones. You just want the crap ones.
You want the bad ones. You want the bad ones.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
much more entertaining.
You can chuck the towels at them.
You played with some good managers there, Michael Laudrup. Just going back to Liverpool, were you there when the documentary was being made?
Yeah.
And Brendan Rodgers was there then. Was he sort of unfairly presented in that? Do you see what I mean? Was he a good manager for you at the time?
He was a very good manager. I got nothing to obviously say bad about Brendan. He was brilliant. He'd been at Chelsea and under Mourinho, and the sessions that he used to put on were unbelievable. It was one of them where you know that you're not going to play at the weekend, but you were sort of like you've got something out of training. Do you know what I mean? Where you can go at other clubs, other managers they concentrate on the first team. Do you know what I mean? And that's where at Liverpool, he was good. You got something out of training.
A lot of managers get that wrong, Jonjo, don't they? Do you know what I mean? The 11 you don't really have to worry about. It's like the 8, 9, 10 lads. The others, isn't it?
Like growing up, you used to call it the bomb squad, didn't you?
Yeah.
Where you'd be training on the Saturday morning, then you have to go to the game, and obviously it's an horrible feeling. But with Brendan, like he made everyone feel like they're involved. You know what I mean? And like he was brilliant in terms of that. He's doing very well, obviously, at Leicester.
Yeah,
that's massive. Just like not just in the world of football, but in any company, in any sport, anywhere. Like that level of man management is massive. If you're a boss of something.
Yeah, I'm one of these that like I'm not a good squad player, to be honest with you. I want to play football. I need to be playing football, but like then I was getting something out of training. As long as you're getting something out of training and you feel part of it, even if you're not getting the minutes that you want on the pitch, like you was still sort of happy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in terms of that, it was brilliant.
Is that just because you like? I don't mean this in any way offensively, but like if you're not playing, you obviously desperately want to play football, so you're not picked. Do you then just go, well, this is shit? Like,
I think,
do you know what I mean?
You got footballers obviously got a tendency to just toss it off, if you like.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I've done it in the past. I mean, you find out you're not playing on a Friday, and you honestly fuck the training off. You walk around, you sulk and things like that, where you can't do that really. And that's something, as I've got older, you sort of learn, and you need to still be part of it. And obviously, if there's a player playing in your position and he's doing well, you have to accept it, work harder, and get yourself back in the team.
Yeah.
That is it, mate. Like the easy thing is to sulk, isn't it?
Exactly.
The easiest thing is to sulk and just like it's even now you see it. Like, it's just like, come on, you need to help the team. Being older, lad, a seasoned pro and that, you see it more in the younger lads that you need to cement it. Well,
that's the thing. When I was young, even if I weren't playing at Swansea, my first agent saying, "Get me out of here, get me out of here. I've had enough of it," and things like that. And like you grow out of it. Do you know what I mean? you sort of understand the game, and you have to obviously be there for your teammates at the end of the day.
What's Laudrup up to these days? Where is he?
He's in Qatar. Well, last time I checked, he was in Qatar, and he tried to take me to Qatar.
Really?
When he left,
Yeah.
when he left Swansea, but I think I was about 24 at the time, and there was a guy that I used to go to Foss Lass with down in Swansea, and he was very pally with Laudrup, and Laudrup rang him and said, "Do you think that Jonjo would come?" And he went, "Nah, I think he's too young for that." And I'm like, "You're fucking killing me here, geez. Fucking move to Qatar."
Would you?
You want to go to Qatar, mate?
You want to go?
Tax free.
Not wrong. Business, isn't it? At the end of the day,
does it become that? Does it? Because obviously football's been your blood, it's your passion and all that, but ultimately it is a business.
I love football. Like the day I retire, I won't know what to do with myself. But I think you have to look at it from another angle sometimes, and like it is a business, and it's a short career. You need to get in, earn as much money as possible. Get out. No one's going to remember you after football. No one cares about you after football. So at the end of the day, I need to secure my children's future. Do you know what I mean?
It's amazing.
I want to give my children the life that growing up I never had. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
that is, mate. That is it, and that is how people don't really see it as. And it's easy to say, they earn this much, and you earn this much, and how much money do you need, and this, that. Listen, if football clubs don't want you, you're out.
Yeah, correct.
It's as simple as that. You are out, and you're out in the cold, and there is no way coming back. So you can understand why players go, well, do you know what? I'm going to pick up my money that you give me the contract for, and I'm not going to go nowhere until I take all my money that secures me, my wife, and my children's future.
The way I see it is like the better you play, the more money you're going to earn. It's like if you say you work in a car garage, the more cars you sell, the more money you're going to earn. At the end of the day, it's just the way life works. Like, unfortunately, do you know what I mean? And that's just obviously that's something that as I've got older, like you sort of learn. And football is a ruthless sport.
Can I? I mean, again, this is just going off the little bit of the chat that we're just having now, but also a few of the interviews I've seen you give in the past. And I'm going to be completely honest, right? I obviously haven't met you before this. Know George loosely, your brother, but from listening to you talking there, right? I think that you are a completely different person to the person that sort of perhaps has been portrayed in the media, right? You're a real family man. You really care about your football, and you really care about your football club now and clubs, right? Do you think that you have been unfairly represented throughout your career, or do you just completely shut yourself off from it? Because hearing you talk there, it's incredible, hearing the love you have for your family and things like that, and your roots.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can see why I've been portrayed, because obviously it all started from when I got a red card at Liverpool and sort of had a pop at Fergie and things like that, and then I've picked.
You regret that, Jonjo? Do you regret that?
No.
The way you reacted.
It's the way. It's the character I am. At the end of the day, I mean.
I get that, but the way you're saying. Yeah, but the way you're saying now, obviously, that the media side, you just don't regret that you. What did you even say to him?
I'd caught a glimpse out of my eye that he was into the fourth official's ear, and then I don't think he was going to send me off. And then the red comes out, and then I've just gone over to him and said, "It's your fault I got sent off. TUNT. Do you know what I mean?" Yeah. And but I see him after the game, and I apologise for calling him that. But he just said to me, "Don't worry, I like it."
Fair enough.
Likes a scrap, yeah. But you.
No, but that's what I mean. So you get scrutinised for that, Jonjo, in the coming years. So, like you said, Ollie, the way he's presented in the media and stuff, and nobody sees. And I don't know if you've not even told anybody that you've gone to speak to Fergie and apologise, and he's gone, "No, I like that. I like that character."
Yeah, I think I probably have been badly portrayed in terms of in the media, but I don't do a lot of interviews or things like that, but to be honest with you, I don't really care at the end of the day. I don't listen to what goes on in the media. I don't read your local newspapers and things like that. It's just, I don't care. As long as I'm impressing the people I've got to impress, my manager and the hierarchy at the club and my family, then that's it.
But do you care when a city, such staunch and loyal, you've played for two of the massive football cities, Liverpool and now Newcastle, when the fans are on your back and they care so much about it. Obviously, you want to do well for them. So in the current situation you're in, I guess you must care in that sense, right?
Yeah, I care about the club. I care about when I played for Liverpool. I cared about playing for Liverpool. At the end of the day, it's a privilege to play for Liverpool. It's a privilege to play for Newcastle. But what the media is saying, like that doesn't bother me. I mean, I will give my all for the club that I'm playing for, and if I can improve the team when I'm come a Saturday or a Tuesday night, then I'm going to do that. At the end of the day, I'm doing a job that I'm fortunate enough to be doing and I love. So I care about the clubs that obviously I play for and the fans. But at the end of the day, what gets reported in the media and things like that, if you have a bad game or whatever, like I don't listen to it.
No, the hierarchy for them football clubs brought you in, mate, for you and your character, not for you to be turned into somebody else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it hurts me being in this situation at this football club now, because I know how great the people are up here. Like my missus don't want to leave this city. Like she's happy to stay here after football and live here for the rest of your life. Where I'm a homeboy. Do you know what I mean? I want to be back home, but it's such a beautiful place to bring your kids up and things like that. And I know how much potential this club's got. And I mean, you've played at St James's Park under 52,000 fans, and honestly, they are the best fans that I've played under. They are brilliant, and even if you have a bad game, as long as you run around and put that effort in, then that's all they ask. And they just want to see their club, obviously,
do well.
Yeah, do well and progress. Do you know what I mean? And that's why it's so disappointing at the minute.
We got 10 games, 11 games left. What can Newcastle do, or what do you need to do as a group and that to get out of the situation? You're not in the situation, Jonjo, but do you know what I mean? You're near enough. Fulham are picking up results, and they've still got to win more games, haven't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what have you got to do as a club?
I think we've got 4 games now against teams that really we should be getting something from. No disrespect, but all it comes down to is us sticking together. And I've been in this situation before at Swansea and places like that, and all you've got to do is just stick together and work hard on the training pitch and listen to what the gaffer's got to say and the coaching staff have got to say, and we'll be all right. And I firmly believe that.
That's what I mean. That's massive for you to say. Listen, you almost come out and say, "Look, I firmly believe that Steve Bruce is the man to keep us going forward." Then for that should supplement for people, the Newcastle fans, as you say, listening when they do or whatever, thinking, "Well, hang on a minute, Jonjo's backing Steve Bruce to get us out of the situation, and the rest of the lads are staying as tight as possible." Then surely that's half the battle, isn't it?
Yeah, with our gaffer, he obviously gets a lot of stick and a lot of online abuse and things like that. But on no disrespect, he played over 700 and something games in the Premier League. He's won all sorts. He was captain of Man United. Yeah. The man knows what he's doing. He's been there and done it. He's got the T-shirt. So as a football player, if he's my manager and he's done all of that, and the way he is with me, I'm gonna bust my balls off working for him. Do you know what I mean? Why he's still in charge?
And do all the players have that mentality? Do you think within the club at the moment?
Yeah, with our gaffer, 100%. He's been spot on. he's the best manager I've worked under.
Really?
Jake Livermore says that, Jonjo. Liver said that.
The way he manages people, like individuals, he knows how to speak to certain individuals, and for me, that's as a footballer, that's what I want to work with.
Well, you see the people in the city, right, on a regular basis. It's a city that clearly means a lot to you and your family now. Do you think that Steve had a sort of... He had a standing start in a way because he took over from Rafa, who was like adored by football and Newcastle?
Yeah, I think it was always going to be hard whoever come in after Rafa. It don't matter if it was Brendan Rodgers or Jurgen Klopp. He was coming in after Rafa Benitez had just got us straight back up from the Championship, and so it was always going to be hard in that sense. But like what people probably don't understand is that our Steve Bruce he's a Geordie. He knows what the club's about. He stood on them terraces. He knows what's expected, and one thing even he says that if you're not having a good game, you work your socks off, and he's big on the stat side of it and how much we run and things like that. And if you don't run for him, you're not playing the next week.
Yeah, that's massive, mate. And that. I suppose that leaves no stone unturned for him, because that's that fan inside him thinking, right, I need my team to run, and then if they run for me, then I protect them constantly, no problem at all.
Correct. As long as we're putting it in, he will always back us in terms of in the press and things like that. If we're not, then we don't deserve to be backed at the end of the day in the press.
You've lost Callum to injury, which, as you said earlier, is a blow, but you've got some talent in that squad. Sam Maximan, I mean, he's a real character to us as fans and football watchers. Yeah. What's he like as a player? Is he class?
Yeah, he's different gravy. Like you can just give him the ball, and he just. I mean, sometimes he holds on for it for well too long, but honestly, he's unbelievable, and I think he's got the ability to go and play for your Real Madrids and things like that without a foul. Yeah, without a foul. It's just he just obviously needs to. He's been a bit unlucky in terms of his hamstrings. Obviously, he's been injured and things like that. But he's loved up here. I mean, absolutely adored up here because he's that player that, like, he's a flair player. Do you know what I mean? And he can just turn a game on its head.
Is that the very same, mate, as Almiron? I'm not to that stand, but Almiron's rapid, man, and it just feels like he's missing that end product, Jonjo.
Yeah, Miggy's. I think he's improved so much in terms of his end product. He's obviously scored a few goals, but one thing that Miggy brings to our team is the work rate. Like he sets us going on that press, and the way we want to play at the minute is that higher press, and honestly, he's. You want to see stats after a game, mate. They're just ridiculous.
Do you know what? When you get someone like that presses like that, boom, he goes. He just sets the tone. Then you just want to back him up, don't you?
And he's such a nice guy around the. He's always smiling. And even today, I think we had the body fat test today, and he's like 4.4%. Who's 4.4%?
Yeah, I don't even know, mate.
He's not got ounce of fat on him or anything, but he's just a top lad.
The stats, though, right? I know a lot of football people who study the game, blah, 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 and whatnot. Do you guys as players, are you on top of, like, do you remember Moneyball, right? The baseball thing that came in, and I know that there's data. Is it like that in football now?
Only in terms of your physical data. Like,
right.
I think growing up as a kid, like, it weren't like that back in the day. It was like, even when I broke through, the football wasn't like that. It come down to obviously your 3 points, which it still does. But in terms of like how much you run in a game, your high intensity, your sprints and things like that, people look at that now, and people look at your body and the way it is, and the game's evolving all the time. And I think if you don't buy into that, then you're going to struggle.
I had a great...
Well, there's no hiding place.
No,
there's no hiding place, mate. The problem is, because everywhere around the stadium now have got like the stats cameras, haven't they?
Yeah, the program room.
Yeah, loads of lads wear like the vest, don't they, under their tops now with a thing. So there's literally no hiding place. So if you're not putting the shift in at the end of the game, the stats come through. It's almost
like
half embarrassing.
We obviously played Leeds at St James's Park. I think about a month ago now, and that Rodrigo fellow was in the middle, mate, and he was playing to be playing centre midfield, and he was just all over the place. And I said to him, "Geez, can you just stand still for 1 minute?" Because you're just running around like a nutcase. Do you know what I mean? Even like some of it was just pointless running. But he's like,
that looks like
he goes, I must do. My manager tells me I must do. I can't play for Leeds.
But what Leeds like to play? Someone said it was like a complete mind frazzle playing against Leeds because of that. What was it like playing against them?
It was actually all right, to be fair. I mean, they do run everywhere, but they obviously leave themselves open. But obviously we lost the game. But I just think it's been a shame, to be fair, where they've not been able to have fans in their stadium. Because I played against Leeds in the Championship for Newcastle, and even then it was just bouncing. So I just can't wait to obviously play there with the fans in. Because it's sort of our closest derby in a way in the Premiership.
Do you just speaking of data? I heard a great story about Michu at Swansea. Didn't you have sleep counters or something? And
yeah, we used to get these bands that we had to wear at Swansea, and this is a good one, to be fair. Everyone's obviously getting 8-9 hours a night and stuff like that, and then they put it all up on the board in the canteen. And then there was this player that went to bed at 5 o'clock every night for 2 hours sleep. He was playing PlayStation till 5 o'clock at night.
No way.
But what he would do is go home in the daytime, and he'd sleep until like 7, 8 o'clock, and then he'd wake up and play PlayStation all through the night. You
grew up in Romford, right, Jonjo?
Yeah.
Did you go?
A place called Arundel.
Did you go to the Dogs growing up? Is that sort of where your love?
Yeah, I still own dogs.
Do you?
Yeah, my dad sort of looks after it all, to be fair, but I've got a couple up in Newcastle as well.
Do you watch the racing a lot though? Still, do you still enjoy it?
Yeah, I come home from training every day, and the racing's on. Even if I'm not had a bet on it, I'll watch the horses and things like that. But even when my dad's up here visiting me, it's literally racing finishes, dogs on.
Yeah,
that's what it's like. Honestly, it's mad.
And have you had better luck with dogs or horses in terms of the ones you've owned?
Dogs.
Yeah. Massively. Have you had any good dogs?
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a few. There's one called Cubsy 8. This is a good dog, and then there's one up here called Longhurst 4, which I've got it with one of the lads at training. But yeah, we do all right on the dogs. Do all right.
And horses, you had some with David Simcock, right?
I had one for David Simcock years and years ago when I was first obviously got into it, and then we had one with Mullins, which it was called Galazzo. I don't know if you remember that one.
Oh, is that we've heard Jack Stevens had some of that? No.
Yeah. Well, I think loads of players bought a leg in it.
Yeah.
And I sold my leg, mate, after the first round.
You knew what was coming.
Yeah, and then I've had another cut. There's what I used to Mook Haddon Way or something.
Yeah.
But after I give it about 3 or 4 runs, and if it's not done anything for me by then I'm out of it.
You've got to be patient. Some horses take plenty of time.
No, I need to see winners, man.
I tell you what, you wouldn't want to be a national hunt racer. You've got to wait till they're about 5 to see them on a race course. But last weekend, Chaz, we saw some great horses in action. Tiger Roll, the dual Grand National winner, was back. I don't know what you you made of it, Chaz, but I was a bit underwhelmed by what he found off the bridle. What did you make of it?
Yeah, he come there, mate, cruising. Do you know what I mean? But then you got to understand, he didn't find nothing, but he's a stayer, mate. We're talking 4 miles for do you know what I mean? For Aintree. What do you want him to do? Just turn a bit of speed on? Yes, he went out like a light, but let's try and find a little bit of positivity with it.
Yeah,
we want him to run, don't we? We want him to run. We don't want to keep putting him down. We want him to run in the national.
Definitely. And his trainer Gordon Elliott actually said, look, A1, look, not ideal the way he finished, but all systems go to Cheltenham, where we're running the cross-country chase, and then obviously go, fingers crossed, for a historic third Grand National. They announced today, we record this on Thursday, that they're not actually moving the day of the Grand National to accommodate bookmaker shops opening on the Monday. So that's a bit of news that's come through today. The other performances from the weekend, Goshen, Chaz, he's right back in the champion hurdle mix now, and he was electric the other day.
Mate, it was frightening. So good, so clean. Put them all to bed, won by 22 lengths. And do you know what? Last week you did say all the stuff that he was, if he won or won in style, then he'd be right back in the champion hurdle mix, and he certainly was. And you do have to look all the way back, mate. He should have won the Triumph, shouldn't he? Let's be honest. Brutal. It's a freak mistake that happened. It was brutal. And he's come back. He's had his ups and downs, but listen, he's put that to bed right in time for his final prep race to say now for the champion hurdle. And we was going on last week about the 2 mares, but he's right in the mix now.
Did you see it, Jonjo?
I watched the Goshen run. Yeah, I had a little bet on it. To be fair,
you must have been listening to Studs Up last week.
Great performance.
He was
Did you tip it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but the thing is,
just not listen to me.
The reason I did, we'll do the Studs Up double in a few moments' time. But the reason I did was because if there was to be one horse that could spring in the champion hurdle market, it was him, because there was an excuse for last time out. And fair play to Gary Moore, because he's done all sorts to get that horse back on song, and it's worked. And then you saw more of what we saw in the Triumph from him than we did, obviously, when he bombed out at Cheltenham the time before. But on his day, he's mustered that horse. He's electric. And I don't think anything will be able to stop him, because he's just handbrake off. He's like Almiron. He just runs. You know what I mean? And then Champ as well. I don't know whether you saw Champ, Jonjo, but Chaz, did you see Champ? He was running over 2 miles, a trip too short of his best, but he ran a blinder.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you, mate. I was cursing your name because Champ, this, that, and the other, dropped back in trip, etc., etc. And I thought, I went back in there. Then all of a sudden he comes right in the mix. So your name was getting cursed. Look, he done so well. He done what was needed. Stretched the legs and getting himself ready for Cheltenham.
Would you side with him in the Gold Cup on the back of what you saw there?
Be hard not to, but it's tough. The Gold Cup is tough, you know. Looking at it, there's a lot of horses coming in to make their name for it. You got to think album photos on for free, mate. Do you know what I mean? That's he's like almost a forgotten horse. He's won 2 Gold Cups and he's almost a forgotten horse.
I know.
It's crazy.
Jonjo, do you have a view in the Gold Cup at this stage?
I haven't actually looked at it, to be fair. I looked at I like Kill Crew.
In the bumper.
And I also like Soaring Glory.
Yeah, the winner of the Betfair the other day.
The O'Neill one.
Yeah, he bolted up the other day. He's going to head, we think, for the Supreme Novices, the first race on the card, the Sky Bet Supreme, which won't have the customary rule.
It's about 7 to 1, isn't it?
Yeah. He's a very talented horse. The Supreme will kick it all off. Can't wait for that. And just finally, before we move on to the half-time whistle, although it's probably more like 3/4 time whistle this time round, do you pre-COVID, would you go racing a lot? Aintree's, obviously in Liverpool, Newcastle.
Yeah, no, I went to Aintree a few years ago, and then obviously been to Cheltenham a few times. But where I'm so far away, up here, it's hard to get to the big events and obviously with the training schedule and things like that. But I just go to the night racing over at Newcastle a lot.
Yeah.
Any of the other lads go with you?
Yeah, I took the few of the lads before. We got a box and that there and sit there and have a punt but it's hard obviously with the games and things like that. It's just hard but Yeah, I like going over to Newcastle.
There's a big weekend of racing at Newcastle this weekend, actually. The Ida Chase, which back in the day was a Grand National trial. I don't think we're going to see any Grand National horses, but that's over 4 miles plus. It's a bit of a slog, but decent card at Newcastle. And normally it would have a decent crowd attend it, but obviously in these circumstances, no race goes. So I hope you can enjoy it at home. It will be on ITV this weekend. Right, that is half time. So that means the half-time whistle's blown. And Charlie, time for your rant.
I haven't really got a rant this week. I'm going for something different. On Monday, Boris come out and said, obviously people can and fans can come back to football stadiums, which is great. I was on a certain radio show, and the talk was an unfair advantage for fans coming into the last Premier League game of the season. I don't really get it. Like, you've had 37 games to deal with it. If it comes down to the last game, so what? But just embrace, obviously, the fans coming in back into the stadiums. Embrace the situation that's going to happen. It's not going to be such an unfair advantage. If anything, the home side, if the pressure's on, you'll get that more with the fans being in the stadium.
Yeah, is your last game of the season, Jonjo, at St James's?
No, it's at Fulham away.
No way.
Is it? But do you know what I mean, Jonjo? You see, I'm looking, like, say, for example, it just come down to that. Like, Fulham are going to feel the pressure. They have home fans in there, no? You're thinking going to spoil the party.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but I just can't see the point in fans coming back this season if they're not going to... It's going to be an unfair advantage or whatever.
Do you think it is?
I just think... Like, it obviously falls down to what game your last game is at the end of the day. And
yeah,
I mean, I don't really have too much of an opinion on it. I want football fans back.
Yeah,
but I just think you either wait or bring it in sooner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair one.
So not the typical Charlie Austin rant, but still a point worth talking about. And now, just before we kick off the second half. We do a studs up hat trick each week, so we ask our special guest, which in this case is the footballer for Newcastle, Jonjo Shelvey, as I'm sure you've all worked out by now. Anyway, we ask him 3 questions. The first question, Jonjo, this week's studs up hat trick is: who is the best player you've played with in your career?
I'm gonna have to say Luis Suarez.
Just different class?
Do I need a reason or?
Well,
he's just a joke. Obviously, we spoke about him earlier, and he's just different gear. He'd win us games at Liverpool on his own. He was just unbelievable. Even when he went to Barcelona, he just kept producing them levels, and he still is to this day.
Was he a nice bloke off the pitch?
Yeah, he was sound. I mean, I remember I'd left, and there was an article in the Daily Mail about him. He'd just signed a new deal at Liverpool. And the first thing he did, he went to Costco's and bought a load of Corona, and I just thought, yeah, a legend.
The next question in the hat trick is: who's the biggest influence on your career?
Probably my dad. My dad. He's always been the one that I always look to for advice and things like that. I mean, sometimes he can be annoying with the way he criticises me and things like that, but he's a licensed pro licensed coach himself, but he's always been the one that I speak to straight after a game. And I mean, till this day, I'm 29 now and 30 in a couple of days, and I'm 28 now and 29 in a couple of days, and he texts me every morning saying, "Are you in training yet?" And it's like, "No, Dad, I've not gone to training today."
Does it?
But,
still checking up on his boy.
And then he asked me what I do after what I've done in training and things like that. And but sometimes
did he push you when you was young, Jonjo?
Yeah, he did. But like you know, growing up, all your mates are down the local park, graffitiing, drinking. You're there with your girlfriend and your girlfriend's mates or whatever, and you're indoors watching football matches and preparing for the next game and stuff like that. So I missed that my childhood. But then like looking back at it, my dad was doing that for a reason, and it's paid off. Do you know what I mean? So I obviously owe a lot to him.
And the final question to complete the hat trick this week is the most embarrassing moment for you in your career. Is there one?
Probably getting sent off for Newcastle against Tottenham for stamping on Dele Alli. Just because we was in the game and like I felt like we could win the game, and I felt like I'd let the team down and the fans down so much. And I remember I put a message together on the lads group chat, and just literally apologised sincerely for what I'd done, and I just felt like I'd let the club down so much.
Did you? You know, when you were doing that, was you just caught in the moment, like just red mist when you done it?
Still to this day, I don't even know why I done it, because I was having a good game, and like I still don't know, and it's just one of them things you just learn from and move on from. But like that night, I just locked myself in my bedroom and didn't speak to anyone. I just felt like I'd let the club down so much. What
was the players' reaction to your message, mate?
They just said like not to worry. Like it was the first game of the season, so like they said we've still got a long season. Do you know what I mean? And they're like just forget about it. Let's just keep going, and I'm sure you'll win us games this year. So that was it. So I was thankful that they sort of accepted it.
Chaz, your reaction there was fantastic. You're like, oh, that's fine. First game of the season. Don't worry about that, mate.
Yeah, well, because obviously there's obviously 37
I know.
games to go. Like it's what it is. But the thing is, your teammates need to like react well to it, because if they get infuriated and annoyed with you because obviously you got sent off, and because Jonjo's saying they was in the game and he was playing well, and sometimes it can go the different way, and then then trust creeps in, saying, "Hang on a minute, well,
it's worse, you know, when you get sent off and you're drawing the game or you're winning the game and you end up losing the game. You just feel like an absolute mug." And I sent a text. Rafa was in charge, and I sent a text to Rafa after the game saying like, I'm so sorry and all this, and like he accepted it, and literally I found myself out of the team for a good few weeks, which
because of it.
Yeah, probably like basically because we'd end up losing the game, and I texted the gaffer saying like, I'm sorry because I know how much we was in the game, and I felt that we was going to win that game. And I'd just let you, your coaching staff and the club down.
What did you do, mate? If you got taken out of the team for a couple of weeks, what did you do to get back in? Did you get back in for your hard work on a training pitch and that?
Yeah, I'm one of these that if I'm obviously not involved or not playing or I've done something wrong, then I go to town on my body. Like literally, I come home from training and I go out and run 5K in the evenings. Do you know what I mean? And I probably do too much to my body, but I just feel that's the only way of me getting myself back in that team.
That goes some way from going, like you said, it's quite easy to do the sulking wise, and then obviously you learnt so much for your career. Then that moment for what you've had to do to get back into the team, your training, that's hard enough. Then coming home and then going to run 5K just for your mental side and for your body and stuff.
At the end of the day, like I knew that I wasn't going to be playing, so I felt like I need to go and do something that's the equivalent for me playing at the weekend. Like I've been brought off in games before, and it even a night game. I remember playing for Swansea, and I got brought off for 45 minutes because we was losing the game 3-0, and I weren't having a good game. So I waited till the end of the game. Obviously drove home. And I went out and done a 10K run. Like, and I just played 45. Yeah, I just played 45 minutes. But I just felt like that I needed to do it.
This is a side of you that I think lots of people will be really impressed by. Do you know what I mean? Like
I get called the unbusiest professional at the club.
Do you?
Yeah. Matt, you know Matty.
No one expects this, isn't it? Yeah, Matty.
Matty calls me the busiest professional.
He also said
it's true, like
because some weeks I'll go and play golf after training 3 times a week, 2 times a week, and then sometimes I'm like going out doing 5Ks. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, speaking of the golf,
Yeah.
Did you join? Because it went out, did it? The picture that you played in the club competition. Was that at your local club at Newcastle?
I played it. Thinking to play for the county. So this is a good
Where?
story. The county
At Newcastle.
Yeah, Northumberland County.
No way.
I'm a member of Northumberland County Golf Club, and so we went up to play south of Scotland, and I'm on the first tee, and some geezers took a picture, and literally 20 minutes later, I think it was in the Sun newspaper that Jonjo Shelvey's got more appearances for Northumberland County Golf Club than he has for Newcastle United. So I just laughed my head off. And then, so I'm playing a fella that's played on the Euro Pro Tour. And I'm like, so everyone's having like, so what you do is you get there, you have 9 holes in the morning as a warm up. Then you have they call it soup and sandwiches and stuff. But I had a burger and a pint of Guinness. And then I've gone out, then you go out and play your 18 holes.
Yeah.
So I've gone out and played my 18 holes. I'm level going down the last. Yeah, this is with a fella that plays he played in the Euro Pro Tour. He's home course, and it's a par 5. He eagles it. I birdie it.
Oh no way!
I swear to God, I was fucking raging. I didn't shake his hand or anything. I just got in my car and drove straight back.
Did he make the putt to win?
Yeah.
Or did you?
No, I'd like lagged my eagle putt up, thinking I'm gonna go to a playoff here. So I birdied it, and he's like held like a 70-foot putt, mate. I swear to God, I was fucking raging. I got in the car, drove home, picked the kids up, and went to Alton Towers.
Would golf be something you'd think about after football? Like Shevchenko tried it, Bullard, and you're off scratch, right?
Yeah, I'm off scratch. I love my golf. I mean, I've obviously got putting mats and stuff like that downstairs in the house, and like I've always played golf. Like it's something that even in the summer, like I'll go on holiday with the family, and I'll always rent a villa, and the missus and that they take the kids out to the water park or wherever, and we go and have 36 holes, me, my dad, and everyone, and every day, and that's just the way it was, and you just sort of get better and better, didn't you? So I've sort of got myself down to scratch and played a few tournaments and things like that. So I'll try and give it a go.
What you like in the 19th, mate? Any good?
Yeah, I'm decent in the 19th, to be fair. We was in Dubai, and there was the best round I've ever had, and we played the at the Emirates. And I think it was 4 under. I was 4 under around there off the back tees, and as to celebrate, like I had an excuse for the missus. I was like, I've just shot my best round of my career. I'll be back later tonight about 10:30. It was class, man.
Some golf that 4 under around there. Yeah. What about like in your career? Have there ever been any players that you think have like just been massively underrated, like absolute ballers that just don't get the recognition they deserve? Both of you. You just need thinking time, right?
Do you know what? It's tough, because like John said earlier on, the better you do, the more recognition you get, and the more recognition. It's a bit different now. Every training session's filmed, every game's filmed. So if you do something decent in training, you can put it on your Instagram, or the club can put it on their Instagram or Twitter or something like that. I love playing with Cranchar, I played with him for 2 years at QPR. He was a joke, man. And I know he did get recognition, but for me, I'd love to play him years before. He could play both feet. He was unreal for Croatia when obviously they beat England in 2008. He was just someone that I don't think got the recognition that he should have.
Mine would probably be Gylfi Sigurdsson.
Yeah.
I used to. He was just technically one of the best I've seen. Like in training, the things he used to do and stuff like that, and he gets hammered now, when obviously at Everton, but he's some player.
Yeah, you can see that, can't you? I think you can see that in him. He's at Everton. It's surprising, obviously, that he's not getting. They are on the up, Everton. Big star. They are fighting for that top six, as it is. There's so many teams in there. You're surprised he's not being a big player for them. I know you've got James Rodriguez, Allen's in there, Decore, Calvert-Lewin's doing really well, but he fits in there, don't he? Really?
Yeah, I think he just offers that bit of class, and he's obviously got, and he works his absolute socks off as well. And I just don't think that they play him in his right position. But I mean, we played him the other week, and we sort of done a job on him. To be honest with you. And he's playing centre midfield, and he's not a centre midfield player. He's a number 10. Do you know what I mean?
Have you played against?
I thought that was going to be your turning point. Then when you played Everton, you beat them 2-0.
Yeah, then we didn't back it up though against Palace, where we should have won the game, and then I think we had something like 27 shots or something like that, and then we beat Southampton. And then you think, oh Jesus, we're gonna get going here. And then obviously we've had two difficult games, the last two games.
Right, in a few moments, Jonjo, I want you to give us your Cheltenham anti-post selection. But as we always do on the Studs Up podcast, we are going to have the Studs Up double. Before that, I'm just going to let you know about the weekend's racing action from Kempton, some graded hurdles. We talked about the Ida Chase at Newcastle. There's action on the flat as well from Lingfield, and this week's Sky Bet offer is for Cheltenham, for the Cheltenham Festival, and it's a generous one because it's money back if you lose on the opening race of the festival, the Sky Bet Supreme Novices Hurdle. £10 maximum refund. Jonjo gave a good mention to Soaring Glory, who's going to be in that. There are a few terms and conditions which my producer tells me I have to read out. It's first bet only and win singles or win part of each way singles only. Free bets and cashed out bets excluded. Terms and conditions are on the Sky Bet website. You've got to be 18 or over, and begambleaware.org is a very important website to check out. So that is the Sky Bet offer dealt with. What about the Studs Up double? Chaz, do you want to go first this week?
Yeah, and I can only apologise to our listeners. The money was there for New Tide, but just couldn't get it done, could it?
But it's a good shout, that, because it was 14-1 when you tipped it up, and I think it went off 11-2. And if you back 14-1 shots that go off 11-2, you're going to win in the long run. So well done. I thought it was a good shout, despite the fact that it didn't get anywhere near the finish. That's not the point.
Down. Cheers.
No, but it's not the point, and sometimes you can get caught up in that. Anyway.
Yeah, that's very true. Right, this week, mate, I'm going for in the 3:35 at Kempton, double shuffle. 11-year-old, I know, but course form, and I think course form at this stage and at Kempton, etc., I think it's very important. And for me, I'm going for double shuffle.
And double shuffle was a good winner last time out, and he's got, as Charlie says, excellent course form. So I'm going for a horse that's never raced at Kempton before, but who's not had much racing. Mine's a much shorter price than Chaz's. Mine's Tritonic in the 225 at Kempton. But the way this horse picked up after jumping the last out, the back of the last at Ascot last time out, he picked up really well in the style of a very, very good horse. He's trained by Alan King, who does well with juvenile hurdlers. He's won the Triumph in the past with the likes of Catchy and whatnot. And I think Tritonic looks a cut above his rivals in that race. That's the 225 at Kempton. The Adonis Juvenile Hurdle, which is a grade 2 over 2 miles. So that's the Studs Up double shuffle and Tritonic. Hopefully, in episode 5, we can get on the board. We've hit the crossbar a few times, but I think that this weekend is going to be our weekend. We have got an ever-growing stable of Cheltenham anti-post selections from our special guests, and now it is time for Jonjo Shelvey to tell us which horse he's looking forward to most at the Cheltenham Festival.
Mine's Kilcrew. I mean, I watched it at Leopardstown not long ago, and it was just. I mean, I watched the race back earlier. Obviously, when I found out I was coming to do this, and it was just watching it back was just something else. He's just some horse, and obviously trained by Willie Mullins, and I think it'll win. And obviously, like Soaring Glory, because I backed it the other day.
I think that's two. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's two solid things. You've got Soaring Glory and the Supreme, and then Kilcrew. I think both of them you can't not fancy them. Kilcrew is a big fancy for most punters. I think going into Cheltenham week, and then Soaring Glory could kickstart what could be a great week for punters.
Obviously, the price is obviously short on Kilcrew, but I think there's good value for for Soaring Glory.
Kilcrew, it's interesting.
I don't know many places they're playing.
Well, Charlie's put out a call for about 98 places in the Champion Hurdle on last week's podcast. So if you want to ask for about 58 places, I'm sure they'll listen.
Yeah. I just asked for 5 places in the Champion Hurdle. That's all. I wouldn't ask you for nothing else.
The interesting point with Kilcrew is who's going to ride him, because Patrick Mullins rode him last time, and amateur jockeys can't ride at the festival. So it'll be interesting to see who Willie Mullins calls upon. But one thing's for sure, he's an undoubtedly a hugely talented horse. So we'll add him and Soaring Glory to the list, and we'll update the list as we lead up to Cheltenham. We've got 2 or 3 weeks now, I think, before the festival. So we'll announce the full list before the festival in the middle of March. Anything else to mention, lads? I think that's it, isn't it, Chaz? What have you got at the weekend? Who are you playing?
Birmingham away, big game for us. Another team around us. Pitch is going to be heavy. Like, you know what you're going to get. Do you know what I mean? If one goal could do it for us. But look, we've got to back up from how we've been getting on. That's the most important thing. We've been winning games, and that's what we could continue to do. And that's what you got to do if you want to move up the league and the championship and try and get into them playoffs.
And Jonjo, what about you? What have you got this weekend?
We've got Wolves at home, 8 o'clock on Sky, I think it is. And it's my birthday as well that same day. So
is it?
Birthday goal, Jonjo.
Hopefully 3 points and a goal.
Well, do you know what?
I love that.
I think it's fair to say that I hope that lots of people who have watched or listened to this podcast brought to you by oddschecker and Sky Bet will be cheering you and Newcastle on in light of what you've said, because it's clear that the passion just absolutely burns bright to stay in the league with Newcastle, and I'm sure there will be a lot of Newcastle fans listening to this. So the final word, I guess, Jonjo, is what would your message be to the fans that are listening to this?
Just obviously to keep getting behind us, and obviously I know it's difficult times, and at the end of the day, all the Newcastle fans look forward to is us playing at a weekend or a midweek game, and we're trying our best. It's not obviously an easy league, but we know the situation we're in, and we're gonna keep fighting for our lives for it, and we know that we want Premiership football next season. I mean, this club should never ever be in the Championship with the fan base and the players that are here. So we're gonna just keep going and going.
I think that's well said, mate. I think that's massive. I'll just wish you, Steve Bruce, and the rest of the lads a big one fighting on Wolves at the weekend. Happy birthday for you for Saturday. Go get 3 points, mate, and stay in the Premier League, because you and Newcastle deserve to stay there, pal.
Thank you very much. All the best to you.
Yeah, and
thank you, mate. Thank you for coming on, mate. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. And I'll tell you what, I hope a lot of people do listen to this and show that how much you do come across as a real nice guy.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Top man. Jonjo, happy birthday for the weekend. Good luck against Wolves. Thank you for joining us on Studs Up. Chaz, as always, best of luck to you, mate. You're in a rich vein of form, so keep that up. And thank you to everyone who's tuned in, liked, subscribed, watches, or listens to us. And that is another edition of Studs Up done and dusted. We'll see you next time.